T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I have hydrogen peroxide. Now the next thing, you guys have probably never seen anything like this. May scare a few people. There we go. Oh, there, you can see it. You can see all that crap? Look at this, right across the top.
Hey everybody, Chad Westport here, and I am back with another edition of Just One Thing. That's where I go out into the grow community and talk with experienced growers about just one thing they think all new growers should know about. And boy, oh boy, do I have one of the best people to talk to you today. I have Jorge Cervantes, author of the Cannabis Encyclopedia, one of my favorite books. But Jorge, you have been spreading cannabis grow knowledge for decades. 50 books, I believe it is. So thank you for joining me today.
Well, hey, thanks a lot, Chad, for having me. It's good to help everybody out, and everybody's growing everywhere in America. It's pretty cool. I'm over here in Europe, in Barcelona, and we don't have this liberal laws as you guys do. But we can grow a few plants at home, and that's about it. But nobody can grow like you guys. It's the center of the world now. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. And one of the things that has come with legalization is the ability to grow outdoors in your backyard. Even if your neighbor can see it, you can still do it, which I think is pretty awesome. But that comes with some benefits and some drawbacks. And some of those drawbacks include fallout and dirty buds. So I'm stoked to have you here today to talk about bud washing.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is harvest time. We've got there's a bunch of early varieties. They keep getting earlier, it seems. And then there's also the light depth greenhouses. But one of the things is, in fact, I just saw an article from High Times, as a matter of fact. It was like, I don't know, about 90% of the flowers that they tested had pesticides in them. Ooh. And I just read the headline, so I don't know if there's organic pesticides and non-organic. Right. So I didn't look at that. I said, just like I said, I just read the headline. But the deal is, there's all kinds of stuff. The bugs leave all kinds of little presents for you. All those little slimy trails. If you can see the slug trails, on the sidewalk and stuff, oh man, those are things that are so weird. Anyway, also the little worms, caterpillars, they make little poops and stuff in there, and it also attracts fungus. And what you can do to change that is you can wash your produce just like you do, lettuce, beets, tomatoes, everything. You wash everything when you put it in your mouth. Well, that's what you should do with your cannabis as well. You should wash it, and it doesn't hurt it at all. People say all kinds of weird stuff about, you got to be real careful with it. Well, actually, water is really natural. And if you douse it with water, I've done a real good video. I don't have the link right now. I should have it, but
I'll put that in the show notes for everybody.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, the deal is, if you just what I do, I love to is just hold up a branch and then you spray it with water. Right, you knock off any residuals that are there. There's dust. There's all kinds of little animal tracks on there, little bug tracks, any insects, mites. You can knock a few of those off. And then after that, you shake it off and then put it in a bath of about 1 cup of H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide. 1 cup of that mixed up good with 5 gallons of water. And then you just submerge your branches in there and then pull them out, shake them off, give them about 15, 20 seconds in there. Make sure they get everything's totally wet. Make sure that really penetrates, and then pull them out. And then after that, you just shake them a bit and hose them down again. It's okay, and then shake them off. And then I just put them up on a clothesline and turn the fan on. And the deal is to get the water off fast, get the big drops off fast. And hang them upside down so nothing sits in the plant, because it can sit in there, the water. So you hang it upside down like that. And shaking it's important too, because you get the big stuff off. And then after that, the fans on it, give it, I don't know, depends on how much humidity and how hot it is the day. I like to do stuff outside in the shade. It's more pleasant.
In the shade. Yes.
Yeah, sure. And anyway, that'll just clean everything off. And anything that's on the surface is going to be gone.
And that's good, because you mentioned, the insects outdoors. That's just a fact of life. And the caterpillars too, those little black, they look like poppy seeds on your plant. That's poop. That's poop, everybody. So do wash it off. And it's great that you mentioned, 5 gallons, because most of us got some 5-gallon buckets sitting around.
And it's real easy to do. It's another step. It's not painless. It takes a little work. It's wet and everything, so that's gonna be messy. But so what? I mean, you're not smoking poop and stuff. So that's a good deal.
And at the end, the first bucket that you dumped everything in, you see the dirt in the water. Like the plant looks, kind of clean, but then you do all the dunking and the water doesn't lie.
That's so true. There's a skiff, a film of gunk on there, fungus and residuals, everything that's like kind of like oil based that doesn't stick to water. You can flush it off. That's what the hydrogen peroxide does. It pulls that off because the electrical charge, right? So that's why you use this specifically. Water alone doesn't work. So you just gotta, mix them together, and it works a lot better. And it's really simple, because you can go down and get that stuff. You get the weak stuff down at the the hardware store, the grocery store, or wherever, and it's all over the place. And then just put that with the water. And the thing is, this stuff lasts for, maybe depends on how much volume you put through it, but it lasts for like an hour or so. So you can just skim off that top layer of sludge with a sponge, wash the sponge really well, and then use it again. Yeah.
Does the temperature need to be at any particular temperature, like warm, cold, or just room temperature?
Pretty much room temperature. It's easy. There's a simple range, like 60 degrees to 80 degrees. You don't want it too hot. 60 to 70, 75 is good. Like a pleasant temperature to be at. Because otherwise it can happen too fast. You expose this stuff to too much air, it's just how fast it lets go of the molecules. So if you put it in the water, everything works in, for about an hour, and it's all pleasant and it's real simple. So you don't have to measure a lot of stuff. You get a cup, you put it in there, and it's pretty close. Yeah, temperature is about right. Yeah, it's a nice day. You do it.
That's my style. That's a good approach. It's a nice laid back approach. Now, just as far as technique. So we're we've harvested our plant. We're cutting off individual branches, and we're going to the first bucket. and we're just kind of dunking it in. Is there any like magic twirl action, or do you need to?
No, not really. One of the things I'd say is you get rid of all of the big leaves first,
Okay.
because the big leaves are they're just gonna use your solution more. So, and if you care about them, fine. If you don't, fine. Either way, but they're not so important to me usually. I make compost. So you take those, get rid of them, and then get a flat container that you can use. Plastic works well. Uh, just something that's convenient, and you can use several baths if you have a bigger crop. But if you just got a few pounds, you can do it with 2 or 3 baths of the solution, and then just your hose outside and hang it on the clothesline. That's what I do. It works really well.
That sounds great. And when you were saying hose them off earlier, did you
Yeah,
mean kind of
yeah.
like a mister spray or the actual like hose?
No, just a regular spray it like you would like a regular spray. I mean, it can
Okay,
take a
like
bit
my.
of, yeah, it can take a bit of pressure and stuff to see when the water hits, it goes around. It doesn't hit too hard. It don't make a real hard spray like an intense spray, because you want to just rinse things off. You don't want to knock the resin off. You get the pressure up. I don't know exactly the point. Normally I know that stuff. That's why I write them down. But anyway, if you just spray it knocks off all of the dirt and anything that would already be there. It's kind of like a pre-wash, like you would do if you had buckets, but you don't need buckets because you can just hold it up and spray it out in the yard. It's like you would in, like vegetables. You do a quick wash there, and then you dip it, but you get more stuff off that way. I suppose you could dip it, but if you spray it, there's a little bit more impact. And like I say, the water surrounds the resin part, so usually it doesn't knock it off.
And that I remember was being a concern early on when I didn't know as much as like, oh no, you're gonna wash the resin away. But we've seen
No.
and we've been shown that it's
Yeah, and then we've made a lot of, well, I mean, a few years ago I made a lot of the water hash, with washing machines. We had those little washing machines, 5-gallon and 10-gallon, and then there was the big ones. Anyway, there's basically it takes a bit to knock those off. It really does. Yeah, so. It's pretty resilient stuff, unless it's right at the end, when all of the little resin heads are real fragile and they're prone to breaking.
awesome because the two main concerns people have with washing buds is one, trichome. So we've covered that. We're gentle. You've got a good system. The trichomes are
Yeah,
safe. The
yeah.
second part is just inducing extra water and then hanging it mold is always a concern of anybody trying to dry and cure.
No,
But
it shouldn't be, because you shake it off, that's why I made a big deal out of it. Kept shaking it, get the big thing off, turn the fan on it, hang it upside down, and it dries out. It's what it's supposed to do. Plants want to do that. It's like when you don't pay attention to what they like. You turn them right side up, or you don't give them enough air right at that time. You don't, for example, if it's a wet plant at that time, because you do it with a fresh plant. So when you hang it up, you put the air on it, but you dry it out. You just take the water away on the surface, and then it takes another few days for it to dry. So there's like quite a latitude of time that you can wait. It's not like you're gonna dry it out or anything. So you keep it on there an hour or so. There's a lot of latitudes in all of this. It's not like you got to be super precise, but it's the timing when you do it at the right time. That's the key. That's what gives you all of the, slop room, really.
Right. Right. So
I mean, it is. Yeah.
It's good to have a little bit of a margin for error, because again,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
new growers, we're not going to be completely precise, but as long as you have the idea and you understand the why behind what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
That's super important because that way you can learn and help other people too, and you don't have to be always asking somebody else. You can think on your feet, and that's what we want. We want all these guys smarter than us. That's what I want.
Exactly. Teach the next generation to grow so I don't have to later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shoot. Well, that is awesome. And this has been wonderful. I think everybody's going to have a good idea of why you're going to do it and how to do it. And for everybody out there harvesting your outdoor crops, definitely take a look at this. You can go and find more information on the Jorge-Cervantes.com website. I will put that down in the show notes. I will also link the bud washing video to his YouTube page down there.
Cool.
Is there any other places that you'd like people to be able to find you?
Oh yeah, I'm also I'm giving away this book now online.
Oh
It's
yeah.
yeah. It's quite large. It's encyclopedia. It's big, but it's also and we already translate into a Spanish, so it's in Spanish too. So that's important because we got a bigger audience always in Spanish. I mean, it's growing really quickly. Yeah, but that's on my site, marijuanagrowing.com. And
Perfect.
you just click on it, and it comes up in chapters. You can read it. You can read it on your phone. Everything. Yeah.
Very handy. I'll make sure to link to that as well. And I do like the chapters part, specifically as a good example. You could go look at the table of contents, click directly on harvesting, and it's going to take
Yes.
you right to that section where you'll find
Yes.
some information
Yeah.
about the bud washing.
Yeah, it works. It works great. I'm kind of amazed. It's way better than lugging around a book. I love books, but
Me
dang,
too.
you got that on your phone, and it's free
Yeah.
now. So
In the grow room.
Yeah. My phone's kind of like waterproof almost.
Needs to be, yeah. Waterproof,
Yeah.
shatterproof, all of the above.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess maybe one last question. Have you ever had what was one of the dirtier buckets or odder things you found? Have you ever seen a little worm crawl out of a bug as you're dunking?
No, a bunch of stuff like harvesting. Well, one time oh man, we had the little caterpillars real bad over here. And I hung up the crop in the closet. And the next day there was like a handful of these little bastards underneath it. Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, the buds were incredibly thick, but I just didn't realize how they'd infiltrated stuff because I thought I'd gotten all of them. But if you see one, there's at least 10 more minimum.
Right.
Don't ever take a chance. And then if there's 10 egg or 10 of those, there's at least a million eggs. A million.
Yeah, that's again,
Yeah.
you see one, there's a lot more, which again, those little black pellets that look like poppy seeds, those are poop. So if you see those anywhere on your plant, they're in there. Definitely got to wash the buds, guys.
Yeah. There's all kinds of evidence they leave, all kinds of little surprises. But anyway, yeah, washing your cannabis really works, and I like it. I do it always, wouldn't do any other way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming and sharing today with everybody else. Everybody watching, I appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned. We've got more episodes to come. And until the next time, everybody, remember to party on. See you later.
Venga. Ciao, ciao.
Awesome.